Do you ever have a problem with yours waking up after it's been off a while? Yeah.
See, I don't have internet right now.
Too bad you don't know any IT people. 9 bells.
Yeah.
Oh. Call the Benton County Board of Commissioners to order. We'll begin with the flag pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Sure. Commissioner Benoit,
Here.
Commissioner Heinen,
Here.
Commissioner Pop,
Here.
Commissioner Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner Kapinski.
Present.
Approve, amend the agenda.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have a couple of amendments. The first one is gonna be, we're gonna pull Kathy Reuter's agenda item request. It sounds like her, the one county attorney did accept the position, and I think he gave a verbal yesterday that he was gonna put in his 2 weeks, so we'll pull that one. And then, at 9:30, we will pull, Auditor Treasurer Christine Sherbing on the update on county-owned parcels, but we will add, a discussion on the TNT insert.
Okay. So she'll still be on at 9:30, just a different topic.
Yes.
Move for approval of the
Oh.
amendment.
Wait.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to add, and maybe mine would be after yours on the TNT, because it would be, I want to add Airport Authority.
Okay. You want to do it at,
We'll do it after Christine, right after Christine, I think.
Okay.
and that'll be you, Jared?
Yep.
Okay. Anything else, Beth?
Move for approval of the amended agenda, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion been made to approve the amended agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. County board meetings are broadcast live and video recorded on YouTube. Please restrain from speaking from the audience area and come to the podium so that viewers can hear you. The board observes the Roberts Rules of Order for its meeting, so please obtain the board's chair before addressing the county board. Public comments are generally reserved for open forum, segment, or public hearing. However, public comments on other agenda items may be allowed at the discretion of the board chair. As we begin today, please turn off your cell phones or turn them to vibrate. Thank you. Open forum? Nothing, okay. Consent agenda?
Move for approval, Mr. Chair, items 1 through 3.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we pulled Kathy, the county attorneys. Monty's, and then it's gonna be, Monty, can you hear us?
If we can, we got issues.
Jackie's gonna take care of this.
So yes, Monty is not here, so it's me. It is time for the audit, presentation for the 12/31/2024 audit, and here to present that is Kristen Poole from Clifton West Allen.
Morning, welcome
Morning.
again.
Good morning.
Perfect. Okay, so as Jackie mentioned, I will be going over the 2024. So on the agenda today are the required communications, internal control, Minnesota legal compliance, and the federal single audit, financial results, and then I'll close it out by the key issues and summary. So required communications, all of you should have received a stapled letter, and this is required by auditing standards, very boilerplate. It does mention that there was a new GASB statement implemented this year, GASB 101, around compensated absences. So it just redefined what goes into that liability. It actually kind of added with It's what people are using during their employment as well as what you are liable to pay out at the end when they separate from employment. And then it also talks about any uncorrected misstatements, corrected misstatements, that we didn't encounter any difficulties, no disagreements with management. There. Perfect. And then the other item here is that we did issue an unmodified or clean opinion, which is the best you can get on the financials. Going into internal control, so we do ensure that all internal controls are working properly, and if not, we need to note those in writing, or some do just go to management if there are any. So the first type in writing is material weaknesses. So these are deficiencies in internal control that are material in nature, that would not be prevented or detected and corrected on a timely basis. So the two listed here are the same two as last year, very common in governments of your size, and they are audit adjustments and financial reporting process. So the audit adjustments, there were items that we adjusted, accruals, we booked some of the full accrual entries such as the pension entries, adjusted where PACE loans are reported. They were in your governmental funds, they are now in a custodial fund. That was put out by the state auditor's office this year to have that shown over in the custodial funds, since you are collecting it and then moving it over to the Port Authority. And then the other item here is the financial reporting process. So that just means that CLA does draft your financial statements, and then we do send them to management to approve, but we do have to note that we are drafting. The other type of internal control deficiency is significant deficiencies. So those are less severe than material weaknesses, but still important enough to be in writing. So the item here is segregation of duties, same as last year. And that just means that, there are many departments within the county that there aren't enough people that are to properly segregate all duties. So once again, very common for entities your size. Any questions before I go on?
Sure.
Yes.
With that deficiency one, how many other counties are in the same boat as we are on that one?
The segregation.
Yeah,
duties?
yep.
I would say probably 90% of the ones I audit
Okay.
are. So it's the very large counties in the state have a robust finance team in order to not have this.
Okay.
And I will say a lot of the ones that I audit actually have material weaknesses versus the significant deficiencies. So you are on, the less severe of the two.
Okay.
Just because Jackie's team has really put in a lot of things in place that they can.
Okay.
It's more so those smaller departments.
Mr. Chair, and going back to the audit adjustments, was there a correction for the 24 interest? Do you recall that adjustment at all? I recall Monty saying something about that when we were talking about budgets, and does that ring a bell?
It doesn't ring a bell. I mean, we do mark to market.
Yeah.
So your investments, we do have to, because you're not carrying them at market. So every year we do adjust them to what the markets say at 12/31.
Maybe that's
that
what it
might
was.
be what he was talking about.
Okay.
And that really fluctuates. If you look later in the presentation, some are actually negative years, where I think it's a positive about 2 million this year. But sometimes they do go negative if the markets are negative. So it is a big swing in budget.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so then going on to the Minnesota legal compliance and the federal single audit. So the first is Minnesota legal compliance. The state auditor's office publishes each year a county guide of legal compliance of various statutes that we have to look at and ensure you're complying with. So in going through those about 25 pages of statutes, we found one deficiency, same as last year, and that is that there's ditches that have deficit cash balances. So 9 of the 13 did have that, and its management has agreed to always leave that instead of doing advances. And then in terms of the single audit, so since you spent about $8.7 million of federal expenditures, you were required to have single audits performed. We do have to test 40% of those federal expenditures. So we tested 2 programs this year, the first being highway planning and construction, and then the other one was the coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds, or ARPA, as you know it. So you'll see here, no material weaknesses and no significant deficiencies. So very great results there. And we did resolve, there was one finding last year, and that was for ARPA for suspension and debarment. So keep that up. That's great. Okay, any questions before I move into the financial results? No? Okay, so this first graph is looking at the months of expenditures in unrestricted fund balance, so it does not include your restrictions, your non-spendable. And this is your governmental funds. And so you'll see here that you sat at just over 6 months of expenditures in fund balance at year end. The OSA, I see I have a typo on there. The OSA does recommend no less than 3 to 5 months, just because that's your the largest span of time between tax settlements. So you are above that, and it did increase from last year. So, I mean, it's good that it's going up. And then you'll see on the bottom there, expenditures did go down this year. Fund balance went up overall as a county. So I will talk about those more in detail in the next slides. So this graph looks at your governmental funds once again, but it's the revenues and expenditures. So you'll see revenues did exceed expenditures by about 5.6 million, and fund balance overall increased just over 6 million. And so we do break it down by fund on the next slides to see the reasons why. So in terms of the revenue sources for your governmental funds, you'll see here there's two main ones that stick out that are your primary sources. First being taxes, and you'll see they are steadily increasing, which is nice to see. I mean, because you do have rising costs each year with inflation and everything. So those are steadily going up. Intergovernmental really does fluctuate year to year based on what grants you're getting. And you'll see that it did go up from last year. The main drivers were that highway planning and construction federal money. That was about 1.9 million, as well as the ARPA money. You did spend about 800,000 more than last year, because that is sitting in your unearned revenue until you spend it right now. So when you spend it, then the revenue is recognized. In terms of the expenditures overall by all governmental funds, then you'll see your main expenditures here are general government, public safety, highways and streets, and human services. General government did go up. The main reasons it went up about 1.3 million were wages and then the Bend in the River project. Public safety also increased about 1.2 million. That was wages, severance payouts, and then we did catch, it would be in this letter, if you look at the bullets, that there was half a year of probation costs that were missed as a payable in the previous year. So that was caught up this year. So at year end now, your fund balance is correct, but there were 3 half years in there instead of 2. So that caused that to
What did
look
that
like
equate
it's
out
going
to in dollars?
Let me look at this. It's quite a bit. So that was,
Because I think in order to look at this properly, we'd have to take that off of, or
Yeah.
split it between the 23 and 24.
yes, it was about 260,000.
Okay,
So those expenditures technically should have been a year back.
but 24 would still be up 800,000.
Correct. And the wages, severance payouts were the main drivers. And then the other item here that does really fluctuate is capital outlay. You'll see that last year it really spiked up, and it was mainly due to large projects, highway projects last year. It was about $7 million it decreased this year. So then going into the general fund revenues and expenditures. So revenues did exceed expenditures almost by 2 million. After transfers in and out, fund balance increased 1.2 million. And so the revenues you'll see went up here. It was really slight increases in taxes, intergovernmental, and investment earnings. So there wasn't one primary driver there. And then expenditures went up about 1.4 million, wages, severance payouts, and then that probation extra item. Looking at the road and bridge fund, expenditures did exceed revenues by 1.6 million. Expenditures did exceed for all 5 years presented here. And so after transfers in and out, fund balance decreased 371,000. Revenues were pretty stable. I know I mentioned that highway, the federal portion coming in, That was offset by last year you had more user tax, so it did increase a little, about 500,000. And then expenditures, as mentioned, that really fluctuates based on your projects. So there were less projects in '24. And it was pretty consistent with the previous years. Okay. Then going into the Human Service Fund, revenues did exceed expenditures by 1.1 million. And revenues have exceeded for all 5 years presented here, which is good. After the transfers in and out, fund balance increased almost 600,000. So revenues were up, taxes were up, and then intergovernmental revenues, primarily federal, were up as well. And then you'll see here your expenditures were pretty flat in there. So, okay. Going into the miscellaneous fund then, revenues exceeded expenditures by 14,000, and revenues have exceeded all 5 years. And so overall fund balance did increase about 275,000. So you'll see here your revenues were pretty consistent year over year, but expenditures did go up about 440,000. And that was mainly due to, it was election year. So it was a federal election year in '24, as well as implementing a new tax system. So you went to that and had a lot of extra costs for that.
Okay.
Yep.
Tyler tax.
Yep.
And then the last graph here is just the county indebtedness. So you'll see that that top line that had spiked up back in '21 is coming down. That is paying off the GO bonds, as well as there was a new line, or the last couple of years hasn't had anything, for direct borrowing. That was the Ag BMP septic loans. So those were new in '24. So that came on there. And then the other items were pretty consistent, nothing really to note. Compensated absences did stay consistent, actually went down, which surprises me because other governments actually with that new standard were going up. But you did stay pretty flat on that.
Kristen, as
Yes.
long as we're on this page,
Yep.
sorry, Mr. Chair. For people watching potentially, how does the county sit for debt?
I would say, very low compared to some. Most governments have some debt, and I would say, you do not have much compared to some.
Okay.
And that, I will say, the detail of this is in your notes if you want to know exactly what issuances you have. They start on page 55.
Yeah.
So you only have the 2021 tax abatement refunding bond at 12/31/24 outstanding, which is really good.
I just wanted to put it out there for the public.
Okay. So then to wrap it up, key issue summary. As I noted, GASB 101 was implemented for comp abs. It was not material enough to restate. So that was one of the bullets in this staple letter, just to say we adjusted because of that. So we flowed it through current year operations. No large standards for '25 coming up. Their GASB 102 shouldn't impact you. Coming into '26 though, GASB 103 will be a larger standard again. So that is really looking at how your financial statements are presented. Your MD&A is going to get more robust. Your budget to actuals will get more robust. And actually have to explain large, significant variances between budget and actual, and the final and the original budget as well. So that'll be out to the public in the report, starting in '26. So something to track as we enter '26 of those budget variations, just so it makes it easier come '27 when we're doing that audit. And that is all I had. Any questions?
It was the usual fun read.
Yeah. And the usual good job from,
Yep. Yeah, awesome job, Jackie,
Yeah.
and your department.
yeah.
Yes,
Great
thank
job.
you.
Yeah.
She makes it very easy.
Okay.
I'm sure she does. Yeah.
Yes. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Christine?
Okay, so Beth should have handed out the TNT insert to you. I guess just looking for your approval on that, to include that. In with the TNT is the backside, includes all the proposed levy is.
Yep, great job putting this
Yes,
together. I think it's
absolutely.
Good.
It's a good, easy read. It's right to the point, so thank you.
Okay.
And for the idea of including it in the mail outs, that'll
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
be good.
Yeah, I think it'll be good for the public to see where the tax dollars go. And then, to kind of bounce off of Jared's airport, I just wanted to give a little update on that. Benton County's portion of it is $123,656. And on our median valued home, it will add roughly $5 per year. So,
Can you repeat that number one more time from?
Benton County's portion is $123,656.
And Mr. Chair, Christine, is that a simple formula based off tax capacity, or is it a long,
It's the simple.
The simple.
so just whatever Benton County's tax capacity is divided into the levy?
Yeah, we took it off of the median valued home to kind of give I mean, obviously, it's gonna be different for commercial and.
Sure,
And A.
but the total amount comes
Oh,
off tax capacity?
Right, yes. Yep, off of our 50 million.
Yep.
Yep.
So just to, I mean, our portion compared to Sherburne and
Oh, yeah.
Stearns is way down there, but the portions are the same.
Right.
They just got a lot more
Right.
properties.
They got more tax
Yeah.
capacity.
I have their portions if you wanna know there.
Actually, yes.
Yeah, that would be great.
Stearns is $466,034. And Sherburne's is $410,310.
Lot closer than I thought they were.
Yeah, actually, I thought Stearns was gonna be about 60%.
Yep,
Commissioner Bertram should be happy it's down to 100,000.
we'll send them this.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you hang tight for
Yep.
what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jared, you wanted to have?
Yeah, so, obviously, we had the airport authority meeting, and I thank Commissioner Benoit for going over there. Commissioner Heinen and myself had a bonding tour, basically presentation we had to do, so it overlapped that time frame. But one of the thing, and I got a hold of you the week before, or the day before on the airport authority.
Yeah.
Whatever, obviously there's a group out there making sure taxpayers are in the know of what's going on. I just wanted to put it out there because this did go through, and they said they were gonna be there and they weren't. And then, there's things going on in the city of Sauk Rapids that affects taxpayers for the additional buildings and stuff like that. There's a lot of things going on that we gotta keep everybody involved with, and we've been kinda saying this all the way along, that there's other things out there, and as Kristen Hool said today, before the building, we're basically,
Pretty low.
we basically hardly anything in
Well, we were
debt.
gonna be debt-free in 2029.
And you look at for the 27th largest county to build in the end, it's probably gonna be in that $21 million range that we'll end up paying out, cause we got money to put down and everything like that. It's like, you start looking at it going, God, that's 21 million, but we're letting, there's roughly $6 to $7 million, well, 6 to 10 million for Sauk Rapids, 1 million on airport. All that adds up too, and nobody's saying anything. Nobody's, I basically braced the airport authority for a large group of people potentially coming and there was nobody there.
Nobody there?
No. Gary Grays and I were the only two, other than Tim from the Herald, were the only ones that
Yeah.
were there,
Yeah,
that attended. There was nobody from the public at that meeting.
yeah. When they rebranded the airport last week, Commissioner Bertram and myself were there. We were the only elected officials there. Sherburne didn't have anybody there. St. Cloud didn't have anybody there. It's just frustrating that a lot of this stuff gets out there, but nobody's following up on it because it must not mean anything to them because they're not in those districts or something, but the airport is gonna affect everybody. And this isn't just a 1 year deal.
Well, and obviously, excuse me, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Kapinski, it's way more than the $5 per median home. It's the principal.
It's the
Right.
principle.
Taxing authority.
It's another levy, another line on your taxes.
Now, I will 100% say that I am on the board, or I'm on the side that the St. Cloud Airport, or St. Cloud Sky Central Airport now, is very critical to central Minnesota, especially on the business end of things. It's not like business people are flying out on commercial airlines. They're flying out on their personal business jets and everything and flying in. It's huge for the business aspect of things. They're doing what they can on the commercial end. I get that, but you know, it's still a cost to the county. And since we've been doing this building, we've been saying, hey, there's more out there. You know, we gotta make sure we got the same voices being heard, and those voices aren't showing. So,
Question, I think both of you sit on that board. Bill made the comment at that meeting, something to do with a upcoming meeting that might have, that will put like some type of cap on what they can do.
yeah, I think that's basically, I think we know what we're trying to do is we're trying to reconfigure that board, whether it's changing up the board completely or if it stays the same, putting a cap on what they can do from a taxing authority and stuff like that. I think that's our first win, is getting a cap on it, because right now they're a group of unelected officials that have the authority to put a tax on all the three counties. Yep. So there's a lot of moving parts on this whole airport authority, and
But to your point, there doesn't seem to be a lot of public interest.
there's zero public interest, because I was actually approached by one of them, said, I thought there was gonna be a lot of people here. I'm like, I thought so. You know what I mean? So, anyway, I wanted to bring that up because it's frustrating, because everybody's seen what happened on the building. Then you start tacking on $1 million here and, 7 to 10 million on Sauk Rapids, and nobody's saying anything, but it's in the clear sky, clear open on everything, so.
Mr. Chair, all they do is once they read the backside of this and find out, what all of the cities and the townships and everything are doing with their levies,
Yep.
self-explanatory.
And the reason I want to, Christine to stay is, it can't be on the truth and taxation, right? But it will be on your property tax line item
Right.
out. So maybe if you can just clarify that.
So due to the timing of when we implemented our new tax system, there wasn't enough time to get the programming in to calculate it into our truth and taxation statements. So there will be a very large bolded box that says that the St. Cloud Airport Authority is a new taxing district. So it will be clear that that's a new one, but it's not gonna break out the special taxing districts like the HRA and the EDA
Okay.
and Metro Transit and such, so.
Okay.
Well,
But on the tax statements, it will be separated out.
and it will state an amount per parcel.
Yeah, it'll be whatever your amount is. Yep. So,
Well, and Mr. Chair, can you explain also, because when I was at that meeting, it was stated that they do not have to have a public truth and taxation meeting
right,
to do that?
special taxing districts do not.
Right.
Okay. They have chose to. They are going to still do that. So anybody interested, get onto the airport authority board or website and take a look, because they are still going to have one, because most of the board felt it was important to do that.
Yeah.
Yep. Mr. Chair,
Yes.
were you able to get a hold of anybody to let them know or not
To let them know.
about that meeting?
Yeah, I called, but I don't know, nobody must not show
Okay,
up.
all right.
A couple of people that are very interested in the airport, but one had to work. You know, I thought the timing of it wasn't very,
Yeah, well, I know it didn't work for me and
It didn't
Commissioner
work for me.
Heinen, but,
Yeah.
but no, it's more like Commissioner Johnson, it's more the principle. I don't think $5 is gonna take anybody completely out, but it's another dollar that keeps
Right.
adding up and adding
kind of
up.
like the solid waste tax and everything else that's on there. you know.
Yep, exactly.
But this is one of those things where we're virtually have no control of.
We got no,
That's the
well,
bigger
other
problem.
other than appointees
Our board
and
appointments,
stuff like
sure,
that, yeah.
but
So, that's all I had on that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks.
Thanks, Christine. Sorry, I couldn't remember. Drawing a blank,
it happens as you age.
Chris,
yeah.
Right. Look at it, running 5 minutes ahead. Don't worry, I'll get us back on
I
schedule.
was just gonna say, you're gonna burn through it, aren't you?
Well, today I'd like to talk to you, maybe briefly, about a county road safety plan, as it's called. I just want to always like to bring them up on the screen. So, every county in Minnesota, including Benton County, has a county road safety plan. Here's ours. Our last plan was adopted or completed in August of 2010. What a county road safety plan is kind of a comprehensive look at all of the county roads, and it did touch on some township roads, and looks at areas where there's safety concerns, where we having high crashes, what are some of the causes of those crashes. But more importantly, the plan identifies projects where you could improve safety. And a big part of this is opening us up to receiving grants and federal funds for those projects to improve safety. I would like to have our county road safety plan updated. Reasons why is, although this was completed in 2010, they looked at crash data for the 5 years of 2003 to 2007. That was a long time ago. I would like to see what are crashes doing more recently. What's interesting, though, is back then, what we learned is that 80% of the severe crashes in Benton County occurred in rural areas, identifying that we had a really, a rural road safety issue. And of those 80%, 71% of the rural severe crashes were run off the road crashes, meaning no other vehicle, they weren't at an intersection, just these long stretches of roadways, people were running off the roads. Anecdotally, now because I don't have the evidence or the data to back this up, I don't feel like that's an issue anymore. I feel like our rural intersections now are becoming what our issues were. So those are some reasons why I think it would be prudent to have a new plan created. I do want to touch on the last plan identified all these projects in the back here for safety improvements, and we completed more than 70% of these. What's nice is, and I anticipate something happening similar, the plan created like these one-pagers of the safety improvement projects. When HSIP applications were open, all I had to do was take this page out of this plan, I have it electronically, attach it to the application form, submit it, boom, we got the funding. It was probably the easiest federal grant to receive because this document identified a safety issue, identified the solution, boom, they handed out 90% of that project cost through the HSIP application. So, fast forward to now, let's say we do want to do an update to our county road safety plan. It really requires a lot of time just pulling together data, going through the Minnesota crash mapping analyst tool and getting that data, looking at the crashes, disseminating it, compiling it into a readable format. Most often that requires a consultant to do that. Fortunately for us, MnDOT is taking kind of the lead on this and lumping counties together and kind of doing it as a larger project in groups of counties, and then making it, they received a federal HSIP grant to update these. So to do Benton County's project, the total project cost is about $138,480.88. But 80% of that, or $110,784.70, would be covered by the state's HSIP grant. We would be expected to contribute 20%, or $27,696.18 to get a new county road safety plan. So that's what's before you today, is consideration and entering into this MnDOT agreement, committing to the 20% local match. I do have this, that was part of my base budget for consultant fees next year. That line item was $230,000. I was expecting about $30,000 of local cost next year to come out of that line item. But I really think that that's a good investment. Investing $27,000 to $30,000 could just open up to hundreds of thousands, maybe $1 million worth of safety projects in the future. And once again, those HSIP construction projects, they're different than other federal projects. It was 90% of the construction costs, only requiring 10% local match. Where even like this, it's usually an 80-20 match.
Mr. Chair, how long does it take for them to do?
It's going to take a better part of a year. I think that in here it does talk about time frame, but I was anticipating, if authorized now, it would be fall of next year before this is finalized. I'll touch on it. Completing this plan also involves open houses, some public meetings to talk about it, to get public input. There's a lot of things we do nowadays with online maps and meetings to solicit input, where back then they were having a lot of town hall type meetings and stuff. So I think that's important to note, that our public here in Benton County will have an opportunity to weigh in on what roads that they think are unsafe and possible solutions. But I would anticipate about a year from now before we have a final report.
I was just thinking with the raised build grant and the state bonding, all that stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to have any conclusive results. Best we could say is, as we're applying for those, is that we are doing things on our own to embark on looking at ways to improve safety. We just don't have all the answers yet.
Mr. Chair. And, speaking with legislators and all that, that's exactly what they want to hear too.
I think it's a smart move, especially with MnDOT already getting that grant and us piggybacking off of it.
That's right. 80% of this cost is being picked up by somebody else.
Mr. Chair, I'll move for approval of the resolution as presented, and authorize the county board chair to sign it.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Chris, you said they're gonna lump counties together?
Yeah, so we're kind of like the second round of county road safety plan updates. So there's maybe 5 or 6 counties that are going to be part of this overall contract, and that's where they get contract savings, is that this consultant that they hired, it's actually Bolton and Mink, is actually working on 4 or 5 counties. So that's where you get some kind of economy of scale to get those consultant fees down a little bit. I really believe if we had gone out to a consultant just to do it on our own, we'd probably be upwards of closer to $200,000 just for them to look at us. But by them, combining with some other counties, it did bring that overall consultant cost down. And then once again, the 80% being picked up, I think is a good deal for Benton County.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Carried. Approve.
Well, very good. That's all I had for formal action before the county board. But if there's any questions I can address now, I'd be happy to do that. Or I'll stick around for ditch authority in a little bit.
Mr. Chair, just to confirm, CASA 2 open house?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we put out some social media posts. So CASA 2 reconstruction project, which is right now a 2027 project, but we're going to have an open house tonight at Lakeview Center at Benton Beach Campground from 4:30 to 6:30. Open house style, just come and go as you please. There's no set time for a formal presentation or anything, but we'll have some project boards there prepared by our consultant. We'll talk about, construction timeline, possible detour routes, possible roundabout at that 78 and 2 intersection, and things like that. So.
And you sent letters to all the property owners?
Yes, we sent letters to everybody that owned property immediately adjacent to the roadway, but,
Okay. Anything else? Anything else you want to report on?
Well, I did want to address federal shutdown is a big topic in the news. hasn't affected us too much, albeit our Gilman project. You would think they would affect our federal money, but it isn't. Since Gilman got that USDA rural development loan, USDA offices are shut down right now. Although they have the money, there's nobody at the office to process the reimbursement payments. So what does that mean for us? Our agreement was that we pay the contractor, then we invoice the city. They repay us back for their costs on those monthly pay estimates to the contractor. They can't pay us until they get their money from USDA. So at the end of the day, we're going to have to float the cash for their project probably a little bit longer than what we anticipated originally, until the federal government gets back to work. Those come back to the office at USDA and process those reimbursement payments. So I did just want to acknowledge that. That's something that we debated really hard last week, whether we should be paying, do we pay anything if we don't know if we're going to get reimbursed from the city? But ultimately we realized, no, our contractors doing our work are owed that payment for the work that they completed and passed inspections and everything. And we're just going to have to pay that out and maybe wait a little bit longer to get reimbursed from Gilman. So that's the only thing that's affecting, the federal shutdown's affecting us right now, so.
Mr. Chair, how about punch list on CASA 7? That project pretty much wrapped up, or?
It is pretty much wrapped up. We're still talking about liquidated damages and everything like that. So I think we're about 20 days worth of liquidated damages being charged to the contractor before they
60
finally
grand.
opened it up to traffic.
60,000, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
So like the turn arrows and striping, that type of
that
stuff?
should be all done. We have a little thing, though, we're still watching. Anytime you add new impervious surface, you have to do stormwater treatment. We had some infiltration ponds designed into the ditches. They're not draining within 24 hours like they're designed for. So we're watching those. There's some things that we can do with use of drain tile that may require a change order to have them come back in and do that. We're just looking at those. That would be the only thing we're probably looking at right now is our stormwater ponds, if they're functioning as intended.
So do we have more funds available now than just retainage, or are we sitting at retainage?
I think we're pretty much just sitting at retainage right now. Is it all is being held back? So I take that back. So I think about retainage. I try to remember the timing of the payment. Since we pay at the end of the month, there might have been some work completed into September that they hadn't got payment yet.
And a rough number, is that like 5%, so 250,000 or?
Yeah, so 5% of 5.8 million. Yeah.
Okay,
So.
so enough of a chunk of change to make a difference.
Yeah. I would think the contractor would be highly motivated to do whatever they need to get that 5%
Yeah.
out. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
You want to go to public health?
Yeah, let's get this one over with.
All right, we'll adjourn the county board meeting and go to public health.
Are you gonna, excuse me, Mr. Chair, you're gonna recess it?
Recess the
Thank
county
you.
board meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll call order the Benton County Community Health Board. Note that all commissioners are here. Approve or amend the agenda. I seen you've got two things
Yes,
to
yes,
add.
good morning. Yep, I have two add-ons for two contracts that came in after our agenda cutoff deadline to make the packet. One is for our Recovery Corps member, who will start on the 20th of October. And the second is for the SHIP contract for the next grant cycle, 2025 through 2030. That starts in November. Both of those would have been consent agenda items. I'm not sure how that works when they're add-ons, but those two. And then I just had two comments I just wanted to end with, but no formal agenda item for those.
Okay. Board, anything else to add? If
Are
not,
we putting those underneath the?
they're under
consent?
consent, yep.
Okay. I'll move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Now to call the question, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Now we'll go to the consent item 1, 2, 3, and 4. Would you like to pull any of them for clarification?
Move for approval, Mr. Chair.
Second.
We get a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed, motion carries. Jacqueline, consider the public health emergency preparedness mutual aid agreement.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just really quick here pull up this. It's hard to drive the computer and talk at the same time, so I just want to make sure I get to this folder. So I'm going to pull up a presentation, and in your packet, you also have a copy of this PowerPoint. And I'm also going to share this quick to go-to meeting so people online can also see. There we go. Okay, so just a brief introduction. So at our Central Region Public Health Directors meetings, we've been talking a lot about our emergency preparedness and public health. And, you know, anytime we really have a crisis or an emergency, we tend to call upon our partners in public health, and we've been doing that for a long time. But we're talking now about formalizing with a mutual aid agreement. I think many of you are familiar with mutual aid agreements. Nothing new. I know a lot of fire departments utilize mutual aid. Our emergency management utilizes mutual aid. So something that we're looking to move forward with, and wanted to bring a presentation to you about a potential opportunity for us to be part of a Central Region Mutual Aid Agreement for Public Health. I have with me today our Community Health Specialist, Julie. Julie is our Emergency Preparedness Coordinator and has been with us for many, many years. So she's going to talk through a little bit about our plans, kind of what the next steps would look like, and then I'll close us back up after she gets done here. So I'll pass it on over to Julie. It's shared to go to, and then you can navigate with the keyboard.
Okay. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
So as Jacqueline said, my name is Julie Willman. I am the FEP coordinator, Public Health Emergency Preparedness Coordinator. A little bit of background on this. As some of my colleagues and I were talking and just reflecting on events that we've been a part of over the many years, we got to thinking, you know, we don't have a mutual aid agreement that we know of for public health. So we did some research. We checked in with some other counties. We checked in with some of our emergency managers, and have found out that we do not align with emergency management as far as our region for public health emergency preparedness and emergency management. Right. And this map shows you a little bit of how those regions are split up. On the left side of the screen, you see the local public health FEP central region, and on the right, you see the emergency management region. So they do not align. And that's going to come into play when I start talking about the agreement that we're looking at. This is just another breakdown of the same thing. It shows you the counties that are all in the local public health region. There's 13 counties in our region, and of those 13 counties, only 6 of them align in the emergency management region. And emergency management I bring that up because emergency management does have mutual aid agreements. So their region is covered, but only 6 of our public health counties would be covered under that agreement, which would make it difficult for public health to just tack on to the emergency management agreement. This slide just shows the language from emergency management, some of the state statutes that they have and how they can come together and have mutual aid agreements between their organizations. And I just wanted to point out on the right side of the screen, in the emergency management mutual aid agreement language, when they talk about assistance, they have it spelled out there in those letters, A through E of different departments within a county. But as you can see, public health is not spelled out in this document, in this mutual aid agreement document. We would fall under probably that other personnel. But again, that's open to interpretation. So we're really looking to define public health piece of it. Mutual aid is critical for several reasons, particularly in times of crisis, as we all know. Sharing resources, that could be personnel. We have a lot of FEP coordinators. We go to a lot of different trainings. We have a lot of knowledge that we could all bring to help each other. Most other people in our departments don't have that same kind of experience and knowledge and expertise. It's a specialized kind of training that we go through in exercising and planning. That could be medical supplies in that mutual aid agreement, equipment, during disease outbreaks, natural disasters, or other public health crisis. This would help ensure that no single department is overwhelmed and that all communities can receive support. Coordinating response is another reason for a mutual aid agreement. collaborating between those departments. Like I mentioned, that knowledge and expertise is a huge component of that. I know many of us in Central Region have been coordinators. I've been here 12 years, and I've been doing this for 12 years. So there's a number of us that have 10 to 12 years of experience within our region for public health. And it helps to make sure that we avoid duplication of efforts and to ensure that resources are used effectively and efficiently. As I mentioned already, training staff is a big piece, and we can respond quickly. You know, if another county needed our assistance, it might not be sending like the whole team. We're talking maybe a couple people to help, people that have that training and knowledge just to help be another set of hands and eyes, and maybe to help think about things that, you know, in that time of crisis, we sometimes can tend to forget certain areas, looking at that equity of response and making sure that, you know, vulnerable populations are adequately supported, and, you know, thinking through some of those things that the county that's in their emergency at that time might not be continuing to think about. So it's just bringing that expertise. And then it can increase our resilience, having that flexibility and adaptability to allow other agencies to work together and to bring those resources can help to quickly scale up or shift resources as needed, and allows for that faster response time. We know during COVID, getting some of those resources took longer. I mean, everybody was needing them, I get it, for during COVID, but even in other responses, if there was a TB outbreak, or just needing extra nurses or extra supplies to help with things like that, having this mutual aid agreement in place can just help quickly mobilize those supplies or people quicker. That's all I have. Any questions for me? Do you want to wrap that up, or anything else to add?
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Goodnight.
Oh, good.
Are you, when you're looking at this mutual aid agreement, are you looking to align with emergency management, the same counties that are in that emergency management?
So we'd be looking to align our public health region so that all of our 13 counties, whichever ones wanted to participate in this agreement, could participate. And so all of our 13 counties for local public health emergency preparedness would be aligned. And I will say the metro region does have, which we just found out about recently, they actually do have an agreement for their local public health in the metro region. And I don't think that one didn't get included, correct? Because we just found out last week about that agreement that they already have.
Right.
And to add on to what Julie commented on, Pam, or Commissioner Benoit, the other piece of it is our public health regions are determined by the state, and so we meet monthly as a regional group. And so I think for the ease and facilitation of the contract and just knowing who our regional partners are, we'd probably maintain that same region, although it doesn't stand to say that somebody who's external to our region couldn't choose to join in. I think that door would be open too, because we know mutual aid agreements are effective and it helps us to respond quicker, so.
Commissioner Kapinski.
I do think the mutual aid agreement is definitely well worth it. Everybody has them, like you mentioned, fire department. Everybody has mutual aid out there. Would you be able to put together like the top 10, like Department of Health outbreaks or whatever over the last 20 years? You know, obviously everybody knows COVID, but people don't know other things that have happened and like the affected amount and stuff like that.
So actually, and maybe you can tell me if this will be helpful, we actually have planned for both Julie and for Kristen, our emergency manager, to do a joint presentation at one of the upcoming committee of the wholes or board meeting, just on the roles of public health and emergency management and how we both interconnect, how our planning aligns, where we overlap at times, and how we have that jointed effort, and kind of talk a little bit about that response. And that could certainly be something we could add into.
Yeah, that would be great.
You know, maybe we do a couple of slides of here's interactions we've had in the past, but some of the examples, just speaking off the top of my head, would be like HPA and eye and cattle, for example. Our first call, we get notified of a case. We're usually in contact with Kristen right away. She's got other contacts with other boards of animal health, agricultural. If things escalate, then typically it's a joint response, and we're looking at the human side of things. Emergency management is really, their focus is as much different. Ours is really about the human, the health side, points of dispensing, But I think that presentation would be really helpful. We've been talking about that for
Yeah.
some time. And this even came up, the mutual aid agreement need even came up yesterday. Kristen in Public Health had partnered with our Response Sustainability Grant funds. We've been doing the continuity of operations planning updates for the county, for the entire county. And so we had our session yesterday with our public health team. And, we talked about 3 people deep. Like, are you 3 people deep in any of these things? If Courtney and I are gone, what do we do at that point? If we're both incapacitated, what's our next step? And we talked about how something like this could be so effective in that case too. Pulling in those other preparedness coordinators, directors from other counties, getting them at bay, because again, we all have similar responses in our counties, and this will help us to do it faster, and already have some of those practices in place where we don't have to determine the policy right then and there when we're in a crisis to try to get that communication going. So, yeah, I don't know if Julie wants to add anything there, but we could certainly add those.
Yeah, I think just giving the top 10 over the last 20 years or something, because people always they know COVID, right? Everybody's knows COVID.
Yeah, one tiny, huge part of our time, but tiny part of public health, yeah.
Yeah, so, thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Great. What would you like to do with this, board?
I'll make a motion to move forward with the mutual aid agreement.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next.
Okay, so next on the agenda, I'm really just bringing this one back. We had come to a prior board meeting in September, and the board had granted approval for us to explore a potential grant that was coming up. We looked into that grant further, found, Kayla and Mariah, our community health specialist, did some research into that grant, found out that grant came with a lot more responsibilities and duties, more of a burden than what we were maybe looking for. We have identified a different grant that we'd like to apply for. The deadline is this Friday, October 10th. So just coming back to kind of give an update, we're not going to apply for the prior ask, but would like to put our hat in the ring for this community-driven approaches to address commercial tobacco use. Would not be used to hire any additional staff. It would really be used to support current staff time and expanding our tobacco work and being able to offset cost of some of the activities that we have planned. So, with that, like I said, the deadline would be on Friday. There is no local match required. It would be an opportunity to request from an award amount of $100,000 to $200,000 annually. It would be a 3-year contract that would start in 2026. So just reaching out for approval for us to put our hat in the ring or submit an application for an RFP for tobacco work.
Can't hurt.
I'll make a motion to move forward.
I'll second.
Excuse me, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, congratulate and educate checks update.
So I have Kayla Roloffs here with us today. Kayla is our substance use prevention coordinator, works on substance use, mental health. She works a little bit in our SHIP program, and recently is transitioning our child and teen checkups program to our new public health nurse, Kaden. But Kayla's going to do today just an overview of the recently completed congratulate and educate checks that we've done with our tobacco retailers in Benton County. So I will pass it over to Kayla, and Kayla, it's up on the screen. You can just use the keys there to navigate through.
Great, thank you. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, so like Jacqueline said, I'm just here to kind of give you an update of the Congratulate and Educate checks that we had completed. I believe it was June 27th, so not quite recent, but still within the last couple of months. And here's just a quick little overview of what our Congratulate and Educate checks are. They are just educational tobacco compliance checks. It is just a way to try to educate our tobacco retailers on current laws, and it is supported by the Minnesota Department of Human Services and the Association for Non-Smokers Minnesota. So we apply, we conduct the checks, and then we get reimbursed for the checks that we do. And they are really just for educational purposes only. There's no sort of penalty that comes with any of this. It's just a really good way to kind of connect with some of those retailers. So how they work, our public health team, myself, and then our other community health specialist, Mariah Klein, go out with a local youth, someone between the ages of 17 and 20. We visit the 10 retailers that are licensed through Benton County. Our youth attempts to buy tobacco products, and then we always go in and then talk to the retailers about their results. So all the retailers receive the results of their check. So this is just like an example of what the form looks like. We just say like on whatever date at this time your clerk passed or failed the check, and then we have like our information on there as well. Anybody who passes gets a nice little certificate of appreciation. We just say thank you for not selling to youth. And then for anybody who fails, they get some additional handouts. They get one that just talks about what a compliance check is, what the Minnesota law is, and then we, on the bottom, I think it also has like additional resources for training. So if they want to have their clerks go through training again, they can do that. And then we also give them a form about how to check the ID, just, you know, the horizontal versus vertical. And then we also talk about like Benton County specific penalties as well. So then after the checks are complete, our team shares the results with DHS, and that's how we get our reimbursement. And then we also share with the sheriff's office as well, just so that way they have those records. And then the results of this year, we checked all 10 retailers. 8 of our retailers passed, 2 did not. Last year, there was only 1 that failed, so it was additional failure again this year. So again, we just kind of provide that education. Again, it's not an opportunity to fine anybody. It's just a way to educate and let them know about what
They failed last year and this year?
The same.
They were different, but
Okay.
I'm not supposed to say who it was
No,
just
no.
because
Oh,
they're
fine,
educational. So I just
They
want to
were
make sure
different?
that's clear.
Okay.
Yeah, they were all different over the last 2 years. So
Mr. Chair, Kayla, who decides if they're getting fined? Sheriff's Office?
So that would be when they do the compliance checks. So they
Yep.
always end up conducting those separately. We can't use these in place of compliance checks. So like I said, again, we just kind of pass that information on so that way they know and can kind of pay attention, I guess, when they're doing their compliance checks. So
So Kayla, the sheriff would have to go out, or the deputies would have to go out to that individual that you said failed and do their own.
yes, yep. So I think they usually conduct theirs like at some point in the year. So they're completely separate, but like I said, we just kind of try to communicate those results just so that way we know like, hey, maybe there's issues with this retailer or they're consistently failing or, you know, kind of have that track record. So yeah, this is really just educational, but then they also know for, I don't know, whatever they need to do.
Mr. Chair, any liability issues you've run into with taking minors into these places to try to buy cigarettes? or
No,
tobacco?
we try to have at least someone over the age of 18, so they are a legal adult. I think if they were 17, we'd have to just have like written parent permission.
Okay.
We've never had any issues with that before.
They
so.
sign a waiver or anything? Just, they're asked to
No,
do it,
we're
and
just,
they agree
yeah,
to do it?
yep, yeah.
Right,
As long as they're 18.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we've had pretty good luck using the same youth a couple years in a row, so he's really good, and
Okay.
yeah, unfortunately, he'll be turning 21 next year, so we won't be able to use him again, but he's been a really good partner with us.
Okay.
I do want to highlight, though, one positive from this round. Last year when we completed the checks, we found 2 of our retailers had price promotions, and I think we're selling flavored tobacco products. So we had the sheriff's office follow up with them on that, and then this year, everybody was within compliance there, so. I think that was all I had for that. You guys asked a bunch of questions, but if you have any more, I'm happy to try to answer them.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kayla. Kayla did a nice job answering some of those. And I think just to circle back, one of the partnerships between the Sheriff's Office and Public Health was that when we updated our tobacco ordinance, that we would continue to do those congratulate and educate checks. So that way the clerks and the different retailers, we could provide that education and give them a chance to learn what the new updates were, the changes, policies. So that's been really helpful in having that partnership and that communication as well. So we're thankful for that partnership and collaboration on this. All right. So then, the only other thing I had for today was just to provide a couple of comments. One, I just wanted to comment on the federal government shutdown as well. With that, the program that we're watching right now is our WIC program. Currently, there are no changes in our WIC program operations. Minnesota Department of Health has sent out communications to continue as normal. It's my understanding they receive funds in advance, and so we're continuing to work. No impact at this point in time, but we're keeping it on our radar. The other thing I just wanted to comment on was the Department of the Month last month. Many of our department staff attended the Department of the Month with the Public Works Building and had really highly positive remarks. So just wanted to, express appreciation for that. It really did provide a space for a lot of interaction and collaboration. And I don't know if Chris is still in here, but you made it hard. Now he raised the bar even higher every month. I think everybody is raising the bar, and it was really fun just to see the pride that Chris's staff had. And I did the tour, so it was nice to just be able to walk around and learn, and it really opened even my eyes, even after working in county for government for here and in another agency, to the work that happens. And it was just cool to see the pride as they walked around and talked about all the different activities that they do and projects. So yeah, that was just it. Just wanted to express a thank you for that, and I think that's all I have for today.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
Mr.
Appreciate
Chair.
it.
I just want to go off what Jacqueline just said. Is I wasn't able to be here for that highway department area or that department, but I've heard a lot of great things. And you go from the sheriff's department the month earlier and everybody said, nobody can beat this. And then you go over there and
Going higher
it's like,
and higher.
I don't know how people are going to keep beating this because people are having a good time with it.
Yeah.
It's very positive.
Yeah.
So
Just so you know, Jacqueline, we did hold Commissioner Krapinski accountable to that because he wanted his booyah.
Yeah.
Took all the meat out of it.
Yeah.
That's what you get for missing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well,
tomato soup.
yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do. I mean, we won't have like big trucks with flashing lights and we enter or anything like that, but we'll be scheming up something. So, but yes, thank you for supporting that. I appreciate that.
Great. Thank you, Jacqueline. At this time, we'll adjourn the Benton County Community Health Board and turn it over to the board chair.
And we'll continue with ditch authority.
All right, we'll call our ditch
you can
authority
reconvene
meeting to
it.
order, and please recognize we've done the roll call already with everyone present. Move on to approval or amending our agenda. Chris, do you have any additions?
No, I have none.
The only thing I'd like to do, I know that I see that there's one person online with us, a couple in the audience. I don't know if we want to maybe start and have an open forum section to allow people to speak, because typically without that open forum, we don't really do that. So if that's okay with the ditch authority and with Chris, we could just add an open forum section in and maybe do that now. So I see Mr. Stoltman's on. You guys are here. If there's anyone that'd like to speak in an open forum type setting before we start the meeting, if you could please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record, or anyone online.
Mr. Chair, that'd be something that's not on the current agenda, correct?
That's right. So we probably should have something on there to approve that.
Right.
And actually, I was talking about that as I went to approval. So if someone would like to maybe make a motion to add the open forum in a second, we can get that on. there
I'll
and
make
approve
that
our
motion.
agenda.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to approve, to add the open forum in a second. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed is carried, and maybe while we're on that, we can move for our agenda too now that we have the open forum added, and then we'll go into that. Is there approval for the for the agenda?
So move.
Okay,
Second.
and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed is carried. All right, move the open forum. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
My name is Vernon C. Reinert from 2759 65th Street Northeast in Sauk Rapids. I have one question and a couple of suggestions. The question being the beaver that are blocking County Ditch 10 at the intersection of 65th Street Northeast, when are they going to be removed?
Okay.
That'll be in there.
There is an item on the agenda for that today, so we'll have
Yep.
discussion about that.
Okay, and then my suggestions are that due to the negligence and/or whatever of DEPA renting that meadow to Lancy Zadansky, who run livestock in there, and destroyed the ditch from 65th Street to 55th Street Northeast, that DEPA should, well, in the consequences of that, the ditch being destroyed water backed up, beaver moved in. In fact, there's even muskrat huts now on the north side of 65th Street, which in my 85 years of living there, never was one. But my suggestion here is that DEPA pay 100% of the cost of removing them beaver from County Ditch 10. The other suggestion is, along with that, is that he pay, due to his negligence in renting that to Lansky Sedansky without fencing off County Ditch 10, that he pay 90% of the cost of cleaning out Ditch 10 between 65th Street and 55th Street. One other suggestion that I have for how to pay for Benton County ditch maintenance, cleaning, and maintenance in the future is to implement a general sales tax that would cover that. And so we could get rid of this screaming and hollering that people are doing because they would be paying for it, but in a minor amount. And such as a road tax, which I am all in favor of, it would be a minor cost to all taxpayers if there was a general sales tax implemented. Got any questions for me? Other than that's all I got.
Thank you, Vern. Appreciate it. Anyone else? Anyone else?
Hello, this is Robert Stoltman.
Okay. Hi, Robert.
Hi. I appreciate the ability to be online with you. I welcome what I see on the agenda as a solution to see how much the ditch can be improved or the water flow can be improved. I just want to reiterate on my end of the ditch, on the bottom end of 10, there hasn't been water running there beyond the garden hose trickle for the last month. Things are drying up, but it's still somewhat soft in there. So, if we can get that beaver dam out, several other blockages, I think that'll work to solve the issues here. I just want to reiterate that ditch 10 is a very unique ditch compared to all the other county ditches. And hopefully we'll have other discussion on the continuous maintenance of it. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, move on to consent agenda, one item. What's your wishes?
Move approval.
Okay,
I'll second.
motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed is carried. Move on to regular agenda. Chris, consider the quotes for removal of obstructions from CD 10 and 11.
Yeah, so we've talked a lot about this repair of County Ditch 10. In fact, the Drainage Authority has ordered a repair report, and we're still working through that and all the challenges. But it does seem to be that there are some of these blockages in the 1 mile section between 55th Street and 65th Street. So we did go solicit some quotes from some contractors of just bringing in a machine and removing those obstructions in that 1 mile section. Our observations is that that area is pretty flooded. Normal excavation machines would not work there. You'd have to bring in matting or some kind of machine that had flotation devices. So we do have some quotes here from contractors that have excavators on big pontoons. The first quote was rather high. They needed $6,000 just to mobilize to the site. And then they were going to say $300 an hour with a minimum 40 hours of work, whether we could find 40 hours worth of work to do it or not. So that put the quote at about $18,000. Then we learned of another contractor that actually has a smaller machine. That's why I think he's able to be more cost effective. And then, so we met with him, showed him the videos, the drone videos. We looked at maps of how he could get to the site and stuff. And so that's what he was estimating, only charging us $250 an hour, and he's estimating about a day and a half. That would bring his quote to $3,860 for just County Ditch 10. We did talk about briefly CD 11. What's that?
It was a 3,860. I thought I heard 30 in there.
Yeah, $3,860. Okay. I'm sorry if I misspoke. So $3,860 for CD 10. We do know that there's some trees that are down on CD 11. And we thought, well, if we have this guy here with a smaller machine, he looked at that location and thought, well, another half day, that would give him 2 days total in our area. But on ditch 11, a different system, another $1,360. So that contractor's quote for even just doing 2 ditches would be $5,220 for both ditches. But I think the key ditch that we're most concerned about is CD 10 would only be $3,860. And so that's what I would like the board to consider. Maybe authorizing us to spend, $3,800 on CD 10, and if acceptable, another $1,300 on CD 11.
Commissioner Kapinski.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I think going and doing both of them right away, as long as he's mobilized, he can go from ditch to ditch. It's gonna keep the costs down. I also wanna thank you and your staff for getting these options. I know Mark Ebnett, kudos to all you guys. So thank you I think this is a great option to see if it does alleviate some of those blockages.
The second quote here, I should add to our drainage inspector, Adam, we learned that according to his contractor, he'd done a lot of work for Todd County. So Adam reached out to that drainage inspector in Todd County and basically came back with glowing reviews. They really liked the way this guy operated, how efficient he was, his costs and stuff. So we did do some vetting of that contractor before we brought this to you.
Chris, I do think it's imperative that we have a reminder to the ditch authority and to landowners that we do have this repair report that's in progress, that's been ordered, that comes at a cost, and this is above and beyond that again. This doesn't take care of the cost of the repair
That
report.
some thousand.
So, yeah, I just really want to be clear, because sometimes that's easy to go, well, we don't have to do the repair report now. Well, that's already been ordered and it's already in process, and there's already a cost there. So this is an addition,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, I want to be really
But it's
clear.
a lot better option at this point than cleaning than did.
Well, exactly, and it may give us a lot better options of what we look at once the repair report comes back. Right? But we just have to remember that. Commissioner Heinen, do you have a
Mr.
comment?
Chair, and I would agree with you at that point in time. I mean, as what we've been hearing is that it's been the beaver dams that have been the whole problem on ditch 10. So if we get rid of the beaver dams, hopefully that will clear that up. But then again, as you were saying, we still have a repair report.
If I may add, Commissioner, I think that's an excellent point to make. So we did receive a repair petition, and after a public hearing, the Drainage Authority did order that report. So per statute, we still need to bring that report back at a public hearing. But after receiving testimony at a public hearing, the board could decide whether to go forward with a full-length repair or not. What I understand, talking to drainage attorneys and stuff, nothing precludes us from doing maintenance in the interim. We may complete this maintenance, still have that public hearing on that report. The public may say, no, we're satisfied with what's been accomplished so far. We don't need to go forward with a full-scale repair. But we still need to have that hearing.
But the report, because it was ordered, there's costs there.
That's right.
It's
We've
gonna be
already
assessed.
incurred those costs getting to the engineering.
As long
to
as we're
this
talking
point.
about statute, maybe we can try to answer some of Mr. Reinhardt's questions here. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know that there's anything in drainage statute that allows us to call out a particular landowner to pay X number of percent of a problem. You know, he offered 2 suggestions for that, for 2 different things. And then I don't know that there's anything available to the ditch authority to try to establish a general sales tax across the county to pay for ditch repairs. So if you could maybe address that, we can try to get answers to him today.
Sure. The first thing, a specific individual. I think there are cases in drainage law where things can be assessed to an individual.
Okay.
The caveat is the drainage authority needs to have documentation where they notified this landowner that they're in violation and that they failed to correct it on their own. That's where I think we struggle. Although we have an adjacent landowner that says that they had done something, since we weren't active and maybe this is a failure on our part, but we weren't active in managing that ditch up until just a couple years ago. I don't think we have that documentation where that landowner was notified that they were violating and that they had failed to correct it on their own. So I think that keeps us from assessing specifically on one landowner.
But what would make me leery about that, though, is we probably have to include some type of legal advice, which will be a cost to the system again.
Well,
See,
correct. Then we're
anything
consulting
we
our
do
legal attorney.
becomes a cost again.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And as far as sales tax, what I understand, just general sales tax, because obviously we have the sales tax for transportation. That was specific legislation that, if I remember right, 2012 or 2013, where the state legislator authorized county boards to authorize a sales tax specifically for transportation just by board resolution. Right. Now, I'm not a tax expert, but I think there's laws that where you can enact a sales tax, but after only a referendum. Mm-hmm. So we'd have to put it on a ballot for everybody in Benton County to say, yeah, we're in favor of more sales tax to clean out ditches. But in specifically drainage code, really the only funding mechanism is assessment on the benefited landowner.
Mr. Chair, let me throw a caveat onto that. Everybody that lives in the city limits is already paying for that monthly. So we'd be double paying because we have to pay for our water running off of our property onto the road, and we get assessed every month from the city.
It's called
for the
stormwater.
Stormwater.
Well,
assessment.
plus City of Sauk Rapids is paying for CD3, right?
And they are paying for CD3 too.
Which we are.
And we are.
Mm-hmm.
What Commissioner Hines thought, yeah. In municipalities, yeah, it's stormwater assessments, and that's where some have compared ditches as just a rural stormwater collection system. Mm-hmm. And that's why in cities, it's easy to say, oh, you live on that street, so you get assessed for it. In rural areas, it's a little bit unclear, but basically that's what some would say, that it's a rural stormwater collection system, so they're only those that dump water into that system should be, paying for it, so.
Okay. Thoughts on the quotes?
I'll move approval of both prices, $38.60 for ditch 10 and $1,360 for ditch 11.
And I'll second that.
Okay, motion and a second to approve those quotes. Any other discussion? And Chris, timeline, something, if this gets approved today, they can get on it?
Yeah, this guy's very eager. He does have another job, but he has a lot of time off. He could do it within this week probably, so.
Okay.
So I know somebody addressed the beavers. I think that's still something that we will still need to do. We'll need to hire a trapper to trap those beavers, or they'll just rebuild those obstructions in short time. So that'll happen concurrently. And just to be clear, full disclosure, that cost is not included in this quote. That's a different individual, or we'll have to contact some individuals to find availability for trapping, but I think we should do that concurrent.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mr. Chair.
Any other discussion? Go ahead.
Adam, great job. Thank you for everything you're doing too.
Mm-hmm. We have motion and a second to approve the quotes. Commissioner Benoit?
I have just one question. On some of the ditches that haven't been cleaned out in the past 100 years, is there any other obstructions in any other ditches while we have this guy here that we could be removing to cut back on costs to everybody?
Probably. I mean, looking at our videos that Adam has flown, I think occasionally you'll find a tree down here or there. I don't know if his machine is necessarily needed. So what he has is basically a mini excavator on pontoons. And he can haul that on a gooseneck behind a 1-ton pickup. I think that's why he saves on mobilization. He doesn't need to get overweight permits and things like that to haul it. But based on his availability and eagerness to do our work, I think that he could come back once again in short time. And I don't think, I guess to answer your question directly, within this time frame, I don't think we're prepared to say that. I just want to be transparent. So before we spend any more money on any ditches, I would like to bring that back. Say, like ditch 5 is another ditch that's coming to my mind. We haven't touched that. If we find an obstruction, I would like to bring something back to the Drainage Authority to say, yep, ditch 5, it's going to be this cost for this ditch. We're authorizing you to spend that much out of that ditch fund. I'm not prepared today to say, yeah, we're going to spend another $1,000 on ditch 5 and $1,500 on ditch 15 or something. I just don't have those numbers today. So okay. I appreciate the eagerness to save costs, but I think to be transparent, I want to have a discussion on each ditch, so it's, everybody knows that we had authorized to spend that money out of that ditch fund for those ditches.
Well, and if we look at having him come back at some point in time to get into another ditch, maybe that's when we take a look at all of them to make sure that we're having one expense.
Sure, that's a good idea.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Right, consider the correction regarding the petition for removal of property from CD 12.
All right. Yeah, so this is just a clerical correction. At the last Drainage Authority, we discussed the petition for removal of property from County Ditch number 12, and we had the Drainage Authority adopt a public hearing notice. There was an error on the parcel ID number on that order that was signed at the last drainage meeting. So we as staff just felt it probably prudent to correct that with the correct parcel ID that matches the petitioner's parcels. There it is, 8003761. 800337601, just to make sure that we have the correct parcel ID. We had an incorrect typo in this parcel ID, so we just felt for, once again, full transparency, have it correct notice. It doesn't change the time of the hearing and the date, which is not filled in here. We'll fill that in. But that's the first meeting in November is when we decided to have that. And we advertised it, or adopted last time at 9 o'clock. And that's what the notices are going to say. November 4th at 9 o'clock here at the Government Center.
Chris, was there 2 parcels up there on the upper sheet?
Correct, yes, good noticing. But only this second parcel is the only one that's within the County Ditch 12 benefited area.
Okay.
So that's the reason why that one's listed on the notice. So the auditor's office will then draft letters to those benefited parcels based on this notice.
So is the parcel ID number up on top wrong? Or is the one here wrong?
They're both right now.
They're both right.
They're both right.
Go back up.
The other parcel wasn't in that ditch.
But there's not,
It's the second one.
hard to read from here. Cause I only see 1 3 up there, and there's 2 3s down there, but I see where you pointed, Chris, with your, it's hard to read from up here. 1337601. Okay, I get it.
No, I thank
'Cause
you, Commissioner
looking at
Bruno.
that, it looks like 800.
This is.
It is.
It is.
And then,
Wait,
this
100.
one has 2 3s in it.
I think that was showing that one,
Yeah.
why it was wrong, or what was wrong about that one. And then there would be a new one that would be brought forward.
So this one is not the correct one.
Correct.
The correct parcel ID, though, should be 080037601.
So there's an extra 3 in here.
There is, I think, because if you count the number of digits, I think that's too many digits for parcel IDs in Benton County. So,
Good eyes, Commissioner Benoit.
Good catch.
So we'll correct it again.
I'm not blind from a distance.
we'll correct it again. We still have correction tape around here? No.
She's got some over there.
Yeah.
She uses it quite often.
Because like she said, she's not blind from a distance, but
I
up
see it in
close.
the corner.
So that should be the correct parcel ID. So, yeah. Once again, these 2 parcels, they are owned by these, but when reviewing the County Ditch benefited area, only this second parcel was within there. That's why it was determined to put that on the notice. So, do you want to approve it with the corrections noted, and we can cross one of the 3s out and still have it signed today?
Yeah.
Where the auditor can still get letters out.
I'll make a motion to approve this with the parcel ID dropping a 3 from it.
Second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Chris, to Commissioner Benoit's comment about other ditches, CD 12, there's been a valid repair petition filed.
Yeah.
Is there a report ordered yet? I'm trying to recall if we've ordered a.
Yeah,
repair
so
report.
once we had the hearing, we ordered, the Drainage Authority did order a report. So we're in that time frame where we're working on the report. Once again, full disclosure, not much work has occurred on that report because we've been focusing on these other
That
ditches. So
particular situation hypothetically would be in the same situation as CD 10, as if we went in there and maybe did some maintenance, the report still is gonna be done. Right.
that's right. A report
funds
still
have
needs to
been-
be created
Yep.
and brought back and a public hearing scheduled and notices sent out and everything.
And
So
the repair petition is what triggers that.
correct, yeah. Because basically, yeah, what the repair, and this is how it goes through. So you get a repair petition and you look at it. Is it a valid petition? Yes, they're in the benefited area. Do they have some claims that the ditch needs to be repaired? And in all these ditches, what we've looked at is like, you're right, there's been no formal drainage authority action in a long time. Yes, let's clean it out. Then we get to the point where it's like, well, how deep can we go to clean it out? What's happened a lot of times is that led to the reestablishment of drainage records. We'll find in our files, oh yeah, we have from a 1905 when they first excavated that, they assumed an elevation of 100 based on a railroad spike driven into an elm tree. Well, that elm tree is long gone. How do we find that elevation? And then we have to go through this. That's what happened on ditch 10 that led to a lot of the costs there. Is like we had to reestablish where the bottom of that ditch was originally excavated. And since it's a public water, that was some extra coordination with the regulatory agencies, DNR and Bowser. We had a public hearing on that back in 2023. That was, I think that was in April of 2023. We had a hearing on the reestablishment report.
Commissioner.
Sure. Which ditch were you just talking about that you said we haven't gotten a long ways down the road on?
CD 12.
So I just want to throw this out there. I'm more of a realist than anything. If we haven't done a ton of work, is there a way that, let's just say hypothetically, there's 3 beaver ponds in ditch 12, right? You look at it and go, you know what? Maybe if we took care of those 3 beaver, these dams, we don't have to go through all that other stuff. Even though there's a valid petition, maybe they could retract that and save all that money. I'm just throwing it out there. I mean,
yeah, I still think because I had a brief conversation with one of the drainage attorneys regarding that. The fact remains is still that there is a report ordered. So some sort of report needs to be brought back. Now there may be ways around that. Maybe we have a hearing again, and the drainage authority says, "Yeah, we decided we don't need a repair report." But currently, we need to bring some sort of report back. The extent or the length of that report is kind of up to us. We can still do some maintenance in the interim, get that done, and then a report could be, a couple pages, say
Yeah.
that after some routine maintenance, discussion with landowners led to no further action.
well, and that's my point. I think we've come a long ways from the first ditch
Right.
to where we're at right now, and we're learning as we go because this hasn't been done in 100 years. And I'm thinking instead of just having something completely in full spin right now, even though it hasn't really been started,
Yeah.
maybe we look at those options and try and.
I think what I just to clarify, if the petitioner retracts their petition, it doesn't automatically kill the process or stop the process. In most things, a public hearing is required. So let's say in 12, the petitioner retracts their petition. At a minimum, I think it would be recommended that we have a public hearing to say, we ordered the repair report. We're taking public testimony whether we should complete the repair report or stop the process now.
Yeah.
It's just not an automatic administrative thing.
Nope.
So
And I completely agree with that.
In this case, you'd have to have the landowner agree to.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, who knows if that person, because there's a lot of people that didn't understand by putting in that petition, they didn't understand the ramifications of that either and what it was going to cost.
Right.
Neither did we.
No, well, yeah, we did, but.
Well, we to a point, but when you start talking about wetland credits and all of this stuff,
Yeah.
it starts to add up.
It does. And it comes back to what do the landowners really need? Do they need just some water to get moving, or do they need it to be excavated back down to the original 1910 depth, and everything cleared back and everything? So in some cases, I think maybe those landowners would want that, but maybe in other cases, they just want the minimum.
All right, any other items? Board? Chris, anything else on ditches?
I have nothing else.
All right, we're adjourned at 10:34. Back to the board chair.
See, we're up to commissioner meeting updates.
I can start, Mr. Chair, if you'd like.
You go right
like to
ahead.
go ahead?
You go right ahead.
Okay. September 24th, Highway 23 monthly meeting. The 25th, that evening, a Foley Care meeting. The next day, Region 7W. I did have a brief discussion with Steve Voss, the director for district, one of the planning directors for our district, in regards to our letters of support for the Highway 23 funding request for a feasibility study from Foley to I-35. I don't know if you recall, but we did receive all cities' letters of support with the exception of one, City of Ogilvy. And the way the rules are set up, the way I understand it, is it's all or none. And that's worth 45 of the 100 points. So they're doing the point schedule now, working on it, and we should know something by November 1st, but it's a little frustrating that one city could blow this
That's
thing
horrible.
up. Because we're high on the list for this potential study to come through and no local match. And this study's 3.5 to 3.7 million, 53-mile stretch. So we had additional letters of support. We had every county. We had chamber. So I don't know. We're going to see what comes out of that. But
And from my understanding from our meeting, or from what you were talking about, it's really one person, the mayor. How one person could shut all this down is absolutely insane.
I did reach out to the Kanabec County engineer, who happens to have a friendship with the mayor, and he talked to him directly too, and he said, nope. He has in his head that the 23 coalition is demanding that we take 23 and a 4-lane around Ogilvy, and we have no authority on that anyways. That's what the feasibility study would look at.
Right.
Doesn't mean it's even gonna happen.
More of a fear than
But
anything else.
It is. It's
So
a fear.
when they're doing the study, that's when they're gonna do what they think the recommendations would
Yeah,
be.
Right, and it's
I
not
mean-
the 23 coalition that has any
Right.
determination about where that goes.
Oh, man.
Anyway, so that's a brief update from that. Last week, we did have a planning commission meeting. If you weren't aware, the Czech Road, what's old Roadside Acres, right? When they had
No,
it,
it's
but-
new, I don't know.
Now it's New Heights,
New
but
Heights.
yeah. The large dairy up here just south of Gilman, they're basically gonna double their operation, going to about 1,800 dairy cows. So that got approved on Thursday evening for that. And then those of you, I think 4 of us were in attendance at the Highway 23 annual meeting in Roscoe. A brief update, it was nice to have the Speaker of the House there, Speaker Damuth, so nice to have a few of those. Representative Schultz was there too, and so anyways, thank you for those of you that were able to come and support that coalition, appreciate that. That's all I have.
Okay.
I can go?
Go ahead.
Okay, so we did I was at, Commissioner Heinen, Commissioner Benoit was there too until she had to leave, but our bonding tour, presentation went phenomenal, very good. We were at the end of the top, what was it, 5 or 6 people?
Yep.
And as they finished up all their remarks and all their thank yous at the end, we still stood there. I kind of felt a little uncomfortable because I'm like, do we sit or do we stay? And Chris was smart. He left our request and our project right up on the big screen and everything like that. So, I mean, we got 10 minutes of extra time with us. And then the bonding tour, all the legislators come up and took a picture with us. Nobody else came up.
Okay.
It was supposed to be with all the projects, but, well, they took a picture with us and that was it.
These are people that are gonna have a lot of say in the bonding.
Exactly, which obviously Chris got an email last Thursday, I think it was, on the Senate bonding tour. We made the top, was it 15 or something like that. Senate bonding, we got a virtual tour, virtual meeting, and that's 20 minutes. So, and there's only like 15, there's only 2 counties on there. The
Correct.
rest are all cities,
Yeah.
which is,
Plus.
this is, I don't wanna cross bridges,
Right,
but
but-
I'm gonna say, O'Driscoll did phenomenal, Wolgamont did phenomenal.
Yes.
It was, I mean, our delegates there, did a great job. Speaker, Damath was there, so there was a lot of our local people that were there in.
Brady was there.
Brady was there, Brady did a great job, so.
Just to add on that, a lot of the representatives that were there in the room came up and thanked me. And I believe they thanked you and Chris personally too.
Yeah.
About how well it was, the presentation.
So we had that, then, airport, you went, Pam went over to the, airport authority. We couldn't make that. But I did hit the airport renaming. That was very, very good. There was a ton of people there, but, it was, we didn't say a lot. It was more, we're there. AMC board, we had our, as you know how these go, the first policy draft meeting or whatever, so we had that yesterday.
That was just policy chairs, right?
That was just policy chairs and stuff like that. Let's see here, ATP 3 meeting, I had that, last Thursday, I think it was. But that went overtime into the ECRJ deal, so I wasn't able to join that. It went about half an hour, 40 minutes into that. So, there was a little bit of battle on the ATP 3 on it hasn't, the formula hasn't been looked at since like 96.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's like 25, 26 years old. But the problem is if you look at it, and we kind of got to be a little bit, be boisterous, but yet not real, because we could lose some on one side and gain some on the other, on the APO side. So, it's one of these things where we had a voice, but it had to be tempered a little bit.
Yeah.
Because 7W is in there, so which you're a part of, right? So, anyway, we got finally approval to move forward on at least looking at them, and they want to take safety out of the deal, because every road could have safety, and it's like, oh, wait a minute here. So, other than that, and then the Highway 23 Coalition. That was good to be there. I think there's movement there. It is very frustrating on that Ogilvy situation. That'll be it.
I can go. A lot of the ones they already said, that I was at, but I just want to reiterate the highway department. And, I thought that was pretty amazing. Everybody got to get out there and see the new plow trucks and their tours and stuff. I thought they did a phenomenal job, and the turnout, I was pleasantly surprised. There was quite a few. And I went to the Steve and I were both at the 29 corridor meeting for the Sauk Rapids Government Center. I thought that went fairly well. There was some concerns from some neighbors.
How long did you stay there?
Well, I left when someone got there, but and left you. And then I covered Central Minnesota Emergency Board for Jared, which it's the same old. And then I went to the bonding tour and cut out early and headed over to the airport meeting. I had a City of St. Cloud Ward 2 meeting, which I thought was pretty interesting, on the 1010 building. Now, Steve, do you know who owns the 1010 building? Is that owned by the City of St. Cloud, or is that owned by Sherburne County?
Sherburne County.
And just a thought, in your minds that maybe if need be, we could look at renting a room or have a spot there where people could stop and make copies, whatever. But if you've not been over there, I highly suggest that you head over there and take a peek at that. It is very well set up.
Maybe I have them confused. The 1010
I think that's St.
Water
Cloud.
Department.
No, the 1010 is kind of down.
Church?
No, it's not the church.
Okay,
But
right. So the
it's not
1010.
Salem Lutheran. It's
Correct.
the Cop House.
Yep, it's Cop House. That's Sherburne County
Okay, yeah.
and St. Cloud.
Because I think that the more we can partner with
But-
other counties on certain things, the more we can save everybody money. But
So,
just
and I'll add to that if you don't mind. So the Cop House at Salem Lutheran Church is gonna be open pretty soon. So there's two cop houses, okay? One's in Sherburne County, just down by the 1010. And then the other one is opening soon, if it hasn't already, at Salem Lutheran Church. And that's gonna be opening up soon to where they have space available, cause they were talking about WIC clinics and everything done there, because they're gonna house St. Benedict's nurses and all that to do all their training at that one.
Yep.
At Luther, at the
Okay.
yeah,
Salem.
and that, yeah.
Well, ain't there a cop house over by St. Cloud State? too?
Yes,
Down
there
off
is. So
Ninth
now
and
there'll
Stearns.
be, now there'll be three of them.
Okay.
But this, I was very impressed. I was happy with some of the reports back from the citizens that lived over there and how well they really liked it there, how they feel it's really cut back on crime in that area, how several neighbors got up during that meeting and said it was really super nice to walk out onto my front porch or my front steps and hear the kids playing at the playground and hear the laughing and I think when I left that meeting, there was probably, if I'm guessing, 10 to 15 kids out there playing basketball. And it was dark. But, so that, I don't know if the presence is making it better or what the deal is, but, and then the Avivo groundbreaking, I went to that too was, there was quite a few from several different county cities at that Avivo groundbreaking. There's a lot of people there. And a Highway 23 Coalition meeting that was already, and then I had a city council meeting for City of St. Cloud last night, and some of you might be aware, some of you might not be aware, but it was brought up again at the last night's meeting. One of the residents from Donovan Lake was there and brought up the HOA issues that they're having over there and how the new owner from Portland is banging on people's doors with attorneys and all kinds of stuff. And that was brought up to the city council last night at the end of the meeting, so we'll see where that goes, but it's a pretty hot issue. Because neighbors have had SWAT teams show up at their house.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So this 29 corridor, I didn't go to it, but I had calls. Ain't people that are complaining are right where the road, next to the road where it's gonna be. They think it's,
So I will discuss that
Okay.
in my,
but they call and my theory is that the developer, when they bought this property and built
Yes.
this house, they knew about this.
yes.
Right?
Correct. So, I'm sorry. Are you
No, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done.
Yeah, so let's get right to it, to that County Road 29
Yeah.
extension. Correct. You know, so when you left, I got totally annihilated for an hour. I mean, F-bomb and everything, okay? But supposedly, it is in the development's agreement with that. And that road was always there.
Right.
Now, I personally, when I was with the city in that, when this, because I was part of that process when it first started, I point blank said, just remember, just so you know, 29 is going to go through there sooner or later. Okay, and it went through 7 different PUDs and everything else, but it's still under the same criteria. And of course, they were not notified or let to be known that there was going to be a road there. And then pretty soon now it's our problem and our fault. And it's like, after I got F-bombed for an hour, I said, go through this door and take a left, and that's where the city offices are. have a conversation with them about the development agreement. Okay, and then that'll clarify things, then you can get mad at other people than just us.
I think, yeah, to piggyback off of that, I think what we should do is get a hold of Ross and Jack, and me and Jack at an event we were at the other last week. We talked about that a little bit,
Yeah.
but I think what we need to do is we need to pull out that old developers agreement, and I think each one of them should be hand delivered this agreement over there and just say, don't be cussing us out. This was in your you cuss out the people that you bought your property from and didn't disclose and do all this. We did our job. The city did their job.
Was logged
End of
in.
story.
And that's what I told those people, and of course, they didn't like it, but at the end of the time, I said, sorry, but I don't need to deal with this anymore, the way this is being handled by you. And I told them, right there's the office doors to City Hall. Have a conversation with them about that.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was interesting. Oh, yeah, and then I got annihilated on ditches too, during that process too. Oh, my God. It's like it never ends. It just never ends. Bonding bill tour, that was very good. Commissioner Kopinski and Chris, did you actually speak? I don't think you did.
I didn't need to. I took care of it.
We're getting really good at this, And then Sauk Rapids Roundabout, water and sewer, ARPA funds. We had a meeting about that, discussing some of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then after that, oh, yeah, Union. I'm not even going to go there.
No, it's like
But
pretty much non-existent.
it's been interesting.
Yeah.
And after that, I was on vacation.
And he did get something, I understand.
No, I was hiking.
Oh, he was hiking this time.
No, I got one the first time.
Yeah.
On vacation.
Okay.
Once again.
Once again, we have no proof.
Yeah, we have no
There
meal.
might be a surprise package coming.
Okay.
That would be a surprise.
He's waiting for it to show up on Amazon in a freeze pack. We got to razz you a little bit.
And I deserve it. And
That would be a surprise.
there might be a package coming.
That would be a surprise.
Okay. We had the Rum River, and I was online, and I don't know what happened. It got cut off. And they operate in the basement of the Mille Lacs County Government Center. When we sit there, like there's a gal from Anoka County. She's always there, and she'll be saying something. I was like, she's gone. So I don't know what really happened there. Then we had Park Board. The Park Board met out at Mayhew Lake, at the little park they did, and they had a couple of them had a comment that they'd like to build a 20 by 30 shelter out there if they have any funds available. And we said, well, it's something that, there's gotta be funds.
Is that Mayhew Lake by the dam a little bit?
A little bit, it's just north of the dam. And
Yeah.
Yeah, in that same area where you go through and
Yep.
down.
Yep. And,
That's a little hidden. I like that area. I used to fish there all the time.
yeah. And they said that they're gonna look at Mayo Lake Township, they think has some money that they've been.
Dedicated park funds?
Yeah, they wanted to buy more property, but they can't find a willing participant. The person's not a willing participant at this time. So it was very short. They did a little tour of Jeff was out there showing us the dock, and he replaced, which I was really surprised, he replaced all of the boards on the dock for docking your boat. Like he was showing us, they had to grind out the screws and put new screws and everything, and then they put
The floating.
not wood no more. They put the recycled stuff
Yep.
in it. Yeah. So and his people did that. We didn't hire it out.
That is a cool little.
Yeah, and maybe a shelter's okay.
Yep.
Somebody wanted to have some. And we were surprised. There was people coming and going.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fishing off the dock, and I don't know if one was out fishing, loaded the boat. So
Do they have docks where you go?
They
You
got
got the landing, but do they have?
they
Do
have
they
a
still
pier.
have those?
Yeah, they
okay.
got a pier and that's brand new.
Okay.
That was by somebody that was donated. So yeah, it's kind of a neat little place. So the park board went out. And,
Yep.
And then we had, labor negotiations. Had 2 meetings with the library under the new director. It actually went really well. I mean, 6 candidates, and out of the 6 candidates we started with, you could only say that one wasn't really qualified, that you would have been, we settled with a second negotiation her second interview with two, and they were both internal. One's been at the library 26, 27 years, and she's the one that we chose to present to the board, and we did that last Thursday, and they unanimously accepted her proposal. I think she's got things figured out. A lot of the comments between me and the Stearns County Commissioner was that, you know, the library's you're gonna have a tough deal dealing with counties in the next couple of years on the financial part, and she agrees. She's also wanting to kind of straighten out the usage of the library, because she said right now that if you have a card, Jared, and you may have 7 different people coming in under it, they all use your card, that's only considered one person. So she'd like to straighten that out, and she was in member services for a long time, so I think Brandy will do a good job. I think she's gonna, and Karen is gonna stay on at, I think up to 16 hours a month or a week to do our labor negotiations, because they gotta start them. And then, of course, the Highway 23 deal I thought was pretty good. I'd like to see a little more people attend it though, you know, from along the way, you know, there should be a lot of people concerned about that. It seems like maybe the south part has got more.
Well, I think the struggle is gonna be an ongoing one, is the places where it's finished, to try to
Yeah.
keep those people involved. They need to remember that the rest of the corridor.
Right.
was there to
Isn't done
support.
yet.
Yeah, and was there to support, so
Yeah.
just cause your area's done
Yeah,
doesn't
right.
mean we're done.
Yeah. So that's all that I had.
Mr. Chair.
Yep.
On the library side, just make sure that they also, when they're updating that, they do say, you know, it's every year, not once every 3 years.
Right.
You know.
And she said she's been working, because she was the branch coordinator for, I believe, the northern half of the deal. Actually, both of them were the two we interviewed last, where one was the southern part. The one did not have all her library master's degree or something yet, but she was in the process. But they were both good candidates. You know, the one that was running the libraries at St. Cloud State applied. But they understand that that's probably going to be a non-existent position pretty quick. So.
And I did try to get Commissioner Johnson to take a picture on the highway.
Yeah, he says, go out on the highway and take a picture. And I said, yeah, you want me out on the center line, don't you?
Oh. I didn't say it'd have to be that far, just
Yeah.
partial.
You know,
There's kind of a local connection there, though. Roy Seppel's daughter, Heather, works for Vantage Point Marketing.
Okay.
So
Oh yeah, I think she was at the last.
Foley connection
Yeah,
there.
she was at the last one of the last meetings that was there.
Mr. Chair, I have a comment on your park board. You sit on that board, right?
Yep.
Just a little tidbit of information. The park next to Minden Township is called Paul's Park, because he got all of that.
Yeah. Oh, he
donated.
told us about that. He got that done.
Every bit of it donated, so he sits on that
Yeah.
park board, so if he wants to build a building,
He
you get
does.
all on board
Yep.
with donations.
Yeah, he did. He did tell us that, and he offered to
Yep.
head it up if we want to get donations and get it built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, and he did, the lean-to, the 2 cement, there's 2 cement,
Benches or tables
out-
in there.
No, picnic tables,
Yeah.
really nice ones, and then 2 swinging chairs, and he got every bit of that donated.
Yeah, so that's where I think
Really
that's where it come from, that he thought that he should have something out there.
Well, I'm just trying to give you a tidbit of information
Yeah.
that you tell Paul you want this building.
Yeah, no, they're
You work on your donation.
they're pretty good. They're pretty adamant about that.
Yeah.
So, commissioner concerns, comments, not required any board action, nothing. Committee of the Holes, you got anything there, girl?
I got one.
Do you, one?
Yeah,
That ain't
yeah.
so bad.
It looks like it's the Benton Co-op exercises has been rescheduled to Monday, October 27th from 9 a.m. till 12 o'clock p.m. at the Sheriff's Office Situation Room. So again, that is on Monday, October 27th from 9 a.m. to 12 o'clock p.m. at the Sheriff's Office Situation Room. It's the Benton County Co-op exercises with emergency management.
I don't exercise ever for.
Have you ever exercised?
No. So I will not be in attendance. No, I'm just kidding. I do, Mr. Chair, I would like to make sure that we we put something on the radar for, doing a committee of the whole with, county attorney's office.
Okay.
I was just gonna say that because you mentioned it.
Yeah, so I would like to get something on sooner rather than later on that.
Commissioner Pinsky, we have a cow for local option sales tax discussion after our next meeting, but did you say you will be gone?
I will be, as a note, I will be attending DC trip with the APO on the 21st through the 24th or
You
whatever.
won't be here at all, not
No,
virtually.
I might be able to join virtually for a little bit,
Okay.
well, at the airport, but I'm not positive.
That's not a good option.
Yeah.
The 20th won't work because we have AMC district meeting.
Where's that at?
That's
In Mora,
Yeah, Mora, Kennebec Hall,
Okay.
or Kennebec something.
Just,
Sheriff's
Okay.
or something.
just so you know, two of us will not be there. Well, I'm sorry, one of us for sure will not be there because we got union negotiations scheduled that
You
day.
scheduled it for the day of the district meeting?
That was scheduled prior to
Okay.
prior to the email coming forth of when the district meeting was.
We tried to schedule it so we'd be back, I thought.
No.
If that's the case, if you're both gone, you'll have to, Monty might have to do the update or get somebody else.
He'll be here
Monty
too
will
with
be here too.
Monty.
He can't
Yeah.
go.
Oh, yeah, so.
We can. I'm
Never-
probably planning on attending that
On the,
district meeting.
And
We have 1 PM is labor negotiations.
I thought we had more.
Oh, that's what I got, 1 PM and 2:30.
Well, then you should be back.
and from this, the county attorney one, I don't think that we can actually schedule it today because I think that maybe we should throw out a few dates and then see what works for the county attorney's office.
So I've got unions down for 9 o'clock on October 20th, correct?
I don't have that down.
Yeah, I've got that written down. So,
Who's at 9 o'clock?
yeah, I don't know who I
Okay.
just got.
What about the
union down.
27th?
That's what I was just thinking, the 27th.
What time was that other one? The exercise what Jared's going to?
4 to
9 to noon.
9 to noon.
And what's that for?
What does that mean?
Yeah,
It's from the emergency management. Emergency response plans for Benton County government.
I'm guessing that is probably budding off that meeting we had in here with emergency response management.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we had the cow here and they were talking about emergency response? I'm guessing that is what that is.
I think you're right.
If this
Yeah.
is to review the plan, though, that's probably something the commissioners should be at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks
So
like
that's 9 to noon?
Noon.
Yep.
Well, and we have, we have the meeting on the redevelopment plan for the old government center on the 28th at 1 o'clock. So could we do the cow before that?
What date?
The 28th, Tuesday, the 28th. It's at 1 o'clock. We have nothing.
You and I have that.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's not,
You and I.
just,
Yes,
yeah.
used to. The board doesn't.
The board doesn't have,
Oh, really? Why is it just you and I?
Because you
For the
guys,
reps.
we don't need all the,
you guys agreed to.
Because there's gonna be like 10 people there at least.
What's
Oh.
that for?
Okay.
Start the redevelopment plan of this
Oh,
building.
yeah. Yeah.
Like the
Have fun.
city and all that.
do you think we need to do that county attorney sooner than later, or?
I personally think so.
I
What
don't
about the 27th?
Like I said, the 27th works for me
We have
and,
that
and
9.
the 28th, the morning of the 28th worked too.
But the 9 to noon on the 27th, I mean, is that something
I don't know.
I'm not really sure what it's
I'm not-
about, so I
yeah.
don't know if
And,
it's.
oh, Mr. Chair, it looks like, Kristen said that they will be discussing essential services that the county must maintain
Well,
at that one.
so just a thought, why couldn't we do it at 8 o'clock and then go over to that? 1 hour. I don't think it's gonna take more than an hour.
Okay. I'll agree with that. I'm not gonna do it after that because I got
No.
things to do.
Why don't we do it at 8 o'clock and we, if it works for them or for her, we do it at 8 to 9 and then we're over there. And we could actually go over to her office.
We can meet over there.
Yeah. her
That way
conference.
we're right next to the,
I guess if Beth's willing to check with her and see if she's
Yeah.
available, and then just let us
Absolutely.
know.
Okay.
If not, I guess we'll have to have a discussion on the 4th to set a time.
yeah, exactly.
Does that work?
From 8 to 9
Yeah.
on the 27th.
Yep.
With
And we can
Kathleen
meet over
over there.
in her building, cause we've gotta be over at the Situation Room at 9 o'clock anyway.
Yep.
That's all I
Okay.
have.
Motion to approve the cows, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion been made and second to approve the cows. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We're adjourned at 11:04.
So much for a quick